back in April 2025, this year, I went to Portugal to have a second set of sessions of psilocybin assisted therapy. In November, I had done it for the very first time in a group setting. This time, I went back to work one-on-one with the therapist that I'd worked with then in November, because I knew I needed more direct time, and I was able to talk a lot more and process things a lot more than in a group setting, because you don't want to disturb other people. Both settings were very meaningful for me. It's a very meaningful experience, and I found some unexpected things came out of it as well. What you're about to see right after this little intro is the raw, unedited video journaling that I made the night of my first session. The way this therapy worked was I went and I had one session all day. Then the next day we just had a 1 hour meeting of integration where we get to talk about it, rehash, and ask questions. And then another day, a full session all day long again, and then another integration. And then I had free time after each integration, which was good. I went for a walk. The day after this video that you're about to see, I went for a walk along the cliffside. It was beautiful. Enjoying the flowers and the nature. And the day after the second session, I walked around the city, old city. So it's very nice. It helped me to process, and it was calming, soothing. During this session, this is about an hour worth of video. Like I said, this is the raw, unedited version. Basically my video journaling. But I wanted to share it because it's about time to start sharing these. I do plan on talking about stuff in more digestible chunks, maybe extracting some from these videos, maybe just talking fresh about it. But I wanted to share the whole thing as well. For anyone who wants to just see, hey, this is the most fresh version of how I was remembering it. It probably could have been shorter. There was a lot of trying to remember. Maybe there was some repetition, but it was the same night. I was actually using a tool that had come up in the session. We're using my hands in very methodical ways. I always talk with my hands, but this is different. But it actually helps to slow me down, and it helps me to express what's inside of me sometimes and to connect with my heart space. So I was using that a lot. However, I was holding the camera, so it was a lot closer. So sometimes it's a bit in your face, but I actually needed it for myself. But yeah, I plan on doing more, but I'm going to share this now. That way I can get it out there and I can then keep moving forward without having to stall because of all the other things. I'm trying to work on some coaching stuff right now. So I also don't, trying to balance things. If you've ever been interested or curious about what you can get from this type of session, this can give you an idea. Although everyone's got their own journey. It's all based on what's inside of yourself. So this is just me, but you might be curious. So sit back and enjoy, and I will catch you later. Take care. I'm ready for my self-doubter to deeply understand that it can trust me and it can trust itself, even while expressing its uncertainties and concerns about the future. I just had my first psilocybin-assisted therapy session for this week, my one-on-one sessions that I came back to Portugal to have, or not back to, I've never been here, but I just finished that session a little while ago, getting food, and I want to record some of my thoughts and the things that I had to say while it's still fresh on my mind. That was my intention going into this, and I can't put the phone down. I don't have any place to let it sit, to put the phone down. So I just got to hold it, and this actually hurt my arm already a little bit. This is weird because I can hold this, but that was my intention for this session. And there's a lot that went into it. As part of the journey, and I'm already losing some of the thoughts because they come and they go. They come and they go, so it's hard for me to grab my thoughts sometimes, and that's anytime. I've made videos about this before, about having thoughts that come and go, and sometimes they never come back, and I'm like, oh, that was a good idea. But beside the point, what I wanted to record while it's still fresh in my mind is as much as I can about this journey, and was trying to connect with things at one point and trying to go into some of the uncertainty, but at the same point I also felt like I needed to use the restroom, and I'd mentioned it for a while, but then I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed and like there's too much input, and we backed off for a while because Connie could tell that I wasn't overwhelmed. I was crying some, but I wasn't like overwhelmed, but I couldn't find the words. So we backed off, and eventually used the restroom. That helped because it took one less thing to distract my mind. And there's so much that I could say, but there's just little pieces coming here and there that I could talk about, but anyway, I just noticed those. I can't attach to any one thing to describe everything, but that's okay. There was a lot of twists and turns and me going off track and then coming back on track and then going off track and coming back on track, but there's always a connection. But in the end, there was this part that I can't show you. Maybe when I'm home, when I have something to put the phone on where I can step back away, or maybe in the morning when there's better light, I can show. But there was a way where I was at the beginning. It felt like I was pushing on my arm a lot, and like I wanted to keep the part that we were trying to connect with, the self-doubt, and that part of me felt like it was trying to stay away from me, because we were trying to connect my core self, because once I got into the journey I was able to connect with my core pretty quickly because it's familiar, and was trying to connect with that part that was concerned, the part that was uncertain, that was doubting. I don't remember exactly, but that's okay. But it felt like it wanted to stay away from me. And I got the words. I've been talking for a while. I did not notice that I had actually hit the stop button, because that happens sometimes since I record on the other side and I can't see the screen. So I just had to review or see where I don't know, something in me told me, hey, make sure I'm still recording. And I looked and like I wasn't recording. So I was talking for at least several minutes. without actually still recording. But I didn't lose too much. Probably a good 5. I've been talking for a good 5-10 minutes. Details don't matter. I was talking about trying to connect with that part. And I can't remember the details now. Oh, the birdie. It was a bird. I realized there was a bird up there who was chirping, but he went away now. I suppose that helps. But yeah, I left off the video where I accidentally hit stop. It was shortly after I was talking about when trying to connect with the self-doubter or uncertainty or something. I'd be talking for another 10 minutes after that, actually, honestly. It's probably a good thing I don't have it on. Maybe not that long. Details. Let's see. I'm still recording. But trying to talk, and I was trying to find my words, and I had to use my hands a lot, and I had to slow down to try to access the part of me that wanted to talk, because it very desperately wanted to talk and to communicate, but like there's a glass wall. Like I know what's inside of me. I know what I want to say, but like there's a glass wall that like that close that get me from my words to try to express. But sometimes it's about access. And I kept telling her, and I don't want I go into all the details because I was going this and that and everything. A lot of sidetracks, and eventually get back on track because my mind just. But I was saying that it's like I'll trying to answer a question or have a thought that I'm trying to share, and I lose access to what I'm trying to say, but the seed of it, I still always have this seed of it. I don't lose that sometimes, but it's always there of what I'm trying to get at and express from me and get out. And that was a big part of this, was that yes, it's like I have this, sometimes I have a hard time finding my words, but it's about access. It's like I know full well that it's like I have in my head the thing I want to say comes quickly, but then by the time I try to say it, like the thought's left again, but I still have the core seed of what I was trying to say there, and then I'm trying to access to find the words and talk somehow. And sometimes once I do have the access, once I do find the words, then things can flow. Maybe I said this, I don't know where the video stopped, if I might have said this before then. But so it was centered around a lot of that. And about there being a lot in my heart I want to get out, and a lot in my mind. And a lot of times it feels like there's a lot of things, but I need time. I need time to access it. But I feel there's a part of me that feels very anxious and stressed about how long it can take me sometimes. I made videos about, in general, time being a stressor for me and how long it takes me, and just trying to access my own emotions. But and now I'm checking to make sure I'm still recording. I don't want to stop it by accident again. And and stuff. And the words, that sometimes it's like I know everything that's inside, but it's like trying to find the words inside of me and just fishing for them and just trying to find them, and there's just so many pieces that are just barely out of reach, but yet I know the core, I know the seed, I know the underlying thing that I'm trying to get at. It can be frustrating. And during the whole thing, just wrap this up, because the details, it was all around this, so it was a lot of repetition. So I was even saying that, and there's other things like I can't use both hands right now, so I can't show, but I can do it later. But I was just, for time, I was using a symbol on my wrist for time and just trying to talk and giving myself that time to express what was there, and helped. And one of the key things, there's a few key things that I got out of this, and my arm is hurting a little bit. Oh, the sun's back. That's nice. I like the little flowers. I like how the flowers are growing in the roof. It's pretty. But this is part of what makes it always pulling in information. I enjoy it, but it makes it hard to stay on track. But connected to all of this was that while I use my hands to talk, in this journey, I was realizing that some of these symbols, and I can't show you one of them because I need two hands, talking about this aspect, or discovering this aspect about myself, where I was having to translate. I was making a lot of hand signals to try, because I was trying to communicate with Connie, express myself, but I was having a hard time finding the words, because I'm trying to dig in deeper, and I was having to use my hands to help, going slow to try to do that. So essentially I was translating, I was realizing that my hand gestures were for me, are to help me to get my words out. It's also to communicate with other people too, but it's for me. And giving myself that time helped a lot. And I was connecting more with that part of me and trying to translate what I was seeing in my mind's eye for my hands, trying to tell me what it's trying to say, what that part of me is trying to say. It has a hard time finding the words, even though I know that the words are there, but they might come and go, but they're just barely out of reach, but I can see them. It's a glass. And through this is asking about how long I was trying to say that it felt like there's a part of me, this part that's using my hands to help me, to process and to find what I'm trying to communicate for myself more than anyone else, but it could help others too. But I was finding that it felt like this part of me knew from a very early age, from before I was even able to talk, I believe. This is what it feels like to me. Basically, it felt like that to me, and this is interesting because my mind's going, did I make all this up just now? But it feels accurate. And Connie said that it also felt true to her when I was saying it. But I also am well aware that our minds can do interesting things. Beside the point. It's for another time. But as far as what happened, what I was saying, what I was believing, was trying to express through from my heart and with my hands and my mind and everything, was that there's this part of me that even before I was aware, that I understood that if using my hands in this way helps me to process, helps me to think, but I need time. But even from early on, that there's a part of me that felt like it cut that off from me, which makes it hard to say because it's not like I ever had a habit and I stopped the habit. And I was talking about this in the journey. Yeah, I'm still recording. It's not like I couldn't pinpoint it as a specific thing because this is not, yeah, I talk with my hands, but sometimes I use it, I'll use my hands to I'm like, I got something going, gears going, so I use it to try to help me get my words out. So I do use it to an extent, but what I was feeling was that even before I could fully process myself in words, maybe since I was a toddler, maybe since I was a baby, I can't imagine baby, that seems too young, but details. But it felt like I've withheld this tool from myself, being able to express myself as much with my hands as what would help me, because I knew that or at least I perceived, that if I expressed myself with my hands as much as what would help me in society, that it might not be accepted. It might be too much. And what I was feeling, I was trying to communicate, and what I said to Connie is that I block this aspect, this talking, really truly expressing myself with myself in order to help my head to connect between my head and my mouth and to get the words out, because it can take time and it needs time. But it basically felt like this is a tool that I could have used for myself, but that I felt like I've never even started using such a tool to this deep of a level, because from when I was a baby or a toddler or whatever, enough that I would have taken in enough of the world that it felt like it would be unacceptable to use, to talk like this, to use this for myself to communicate. And I know this probably feels awkward on the camera, and I don't even know what it looks like because I use the rear camera. Still recording, so I'll see afterward what it looks like. I hope there's enough light in here. I was gonna go outside, but then I realized it just looks too shadowed in my eyes. So I'm just staying just inside the door, beside the point. But that was a lot of this, was realizing that basically I blocked this aspect of myself off from before I was even conscious of it. And it's something that could have helped me to just process what's in my head. But that in that part was also trying to communicate, saying that, yeah, I understand they could help, but I also understand that this could be perceived as unacceptable outside. But it felt safe once I gave time and relaxed, and things like that. And it really greatly appreciated being given the time to talk. And every once in a while I would just tell Connie, my mind tried to give me the wrong name, so that made it stumble and stop. Just reiterate to her, it's like, oh, I'm translating. If you move, just to remind it again that I'm trying to understand what my body's trying to say, so I can translate it into words. Because it's like, I know there's a lot of thoughts and there's a lot of pieces and a lot of stuff that I'm trying to say. But yeah, I think I've covered. I know that repeating myself, I tend to repeat myself a lot because I lose track of what I've already said. So I say it again because I just literally am not sure if I said it already. So there was that also kept coming up, and I'm telling her, it's just, yeah. I wanted to apologize, part of me wanted to apologize for taking this and feeling like it takes up too much time. But I know that other times I can communicate just fine once I'm in the flow. So it's not like it's a constant problem. But yeah, trying to get the whole gist of this was that there's this aspect of me using my hands to help me to process as much as what I could, something that I blocked off from myself from before I even knew I was doing it, before I even had a chance to form it as a useful tool. Yet somehow my mind knew that if I did this, again, it feels to me like this is coming from when I would have been a toddler or younger. Well, I mean, toddler probably makes sense, but no specific age, but just like my mind knew that it couldn't allow this to happen. Is what I was sensing from this. And yeah, so there's a part of me that was intentionally cut off from me a possible tool to help me process. And in the end, there's still a lot of uncertainty and there's still a lot of confusion about what to make of this, even including, it's just my mind, did my mind just make this all up during the session? But we tried to talk with my core self and my heart and going, no, it did feel true. It did feel like this really is what happened, even if I don't remember it happening. It's interesting. Mind also loves to play with these things and try to figure things out, so that's in play too. But try to wrap this up, because all the details were around this, and the self-doubter came in as well. I can't remember the exact details, but at one point I was tracing through these things and then I laughed. I'm like, oh, that's the self-doubter, because several times I thought about, I mentioned, ooh, loud. that? Ooh, we pause. There we go. Whatever's making the noise is still there, but it's farther away. Oh, something might be coming back. Where is... Oh, there I am. But, oh yeah, it's still there. Pause again. That's good enough. That's good enough. Yeah, the noise is gone. Whatever is making it, it's still there. I can hear it well from the distance, but yeah. I don't know if this was ever picking it up in the first place. The mic. Who knows? Well, I'll find out when I watch the recording. But trying to wrap this up so it doesn't go for too long. I don't remember where I left off. Oh, that noise is getting louder again. Oh, it's a distraction. I can't remember where I left off. Oh, that at some point I realized that the doubts was in there because I gotta pause. I don't know what's happening with that high-pitched thing that kind of comes and goes. Some kind of machine. But anyway, I realized somewhere in there, and I don't want to go into too much more details, there was the self-doubter, and I laughed. I'm like, oh, there's the self-doubter. But I can't remember exactly what it was in there, but the doubting about my ability to communicate, maybe? I don't remember, but it connected with it. I still have uncertainties about what this means, about where to go. I even told her, it's like, I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts, and I have uncertainties about what. Where's that noise again? What? I can't. Sorry, just that whatever machine is being run, it keeps getting louder and then softer and louder and softer. I think it's being moved. Maybe it's, I don't know what it is, but, and it's getting closer again right now. Whenever it gets close, it's a distraction. It makes it hard for me to focus and talk. But I believe I left off saying there's just still confusion and uncertainty about this aspect of me that feels like it's blocked off from me since before I was aware of it, intentionally, because it felt like it wouldn't be accepted if I communicated like this. Again, I don't even know if it's just something I dreamed into existence, but it feels real to me. And Connie said it felt real to her too. But I don't know what to make of it. And that part of me also doesn't know what to make of itself yet. I need to explore for myself what this means. And I was saying to her, it's like, I also don't know if this is something that I just use for myself to help me to process my words. I'll just keep trying to go through that buzzing sound. It really is hurting my ears though. I don't know if this is being picked up from the mic. It might be filtering it out anyway. It's loud. That's okay. I can focus. But I don't know if I'll use this aspect as just a tool to help myself, or if it's something that I should use outside to help others in some way. But I also knew that I had the confusion going, yeah, but is this something I'm just learning for myself? If this is something that I've cut off from myself to this degree, like I said, I talk with my hands. That's not a surprise. But just to this degree, it's something I'm only learning now, that seems like it's something that my mind cut off from me from the time I was a toddler. Because it perceived that this wouldn't be acceptable. And so it doesn't, if it's a tool that I'm only just learning now after 50 years of being alive, I need time to process it for myself. But I'm also not sure if it's a tool that I can use to help others. I'm just not sure. So there's uncertainty still. And we eventually left it at that, going, hey, what purpose does the uncertainty have? But I couldn't access that fully. And this is a whole day of stuff. So I'm trying to communicate it as quickly as possible. But we left that, we're like, okay, well, we can't get in there deeper. So we'll save that for the next session. But I know that I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of ideas and a lot of ways of expressing myself through my videos, through my writing, my poetry, potentially singing, if I get back to those singing lessons, which I've been wanting to do. Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily I don't necessarily, that's for me. But there's a lot of ways through my humor. I have a lot of ways of expressing and ideas that I might come up with. And again, also when people say things, it's just, I access what's in my heart, and I try to say what's in me at those times where I know that I don't always have access to that every single moment. It's always been a stressor for me, but it's okay. It's, things are there, and you can pick from them as time allows. And so yeah, sorry, I'm repeating. I mean, this is for myself and others too, but I'm also recording because I want this fresh. So yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty about what to make of that for myself and whether to use it externally, because I also have a lot of other ideas of how I can be a coach and how I can help people. This is just one more aspect that I'm only learning about myself, that I seem to have subconsciously blocked off using my own hands to the degree that it would help me, because I was afraid subconsciously. Not aware of this, that it wouldn't be acceptable. And some of the other things, talk about the core self soothing parts of us and giving them what they need. But this part of me that was communicating with my body, my hands, to try to express what's inside of me. At one point, it was giving comfort to myself. The core self, the one that in IFS it says, it's your calmness is what their manager is and what calms the other parts. Sometimes it gets blended with and over by other parts, but that's supposedly where, yeah, I'm still recording. Your calm self is always coming from, but this other part of me recognized that my core self also needed some soothing. So it's not just one directional. And it was trying to communicate, but it was using words that I had to just express as best as I could, saying that it didn't want to say it was paying me back, because it just wasn't the right feel. expressing appreciation to myself. And I have the word in my head. I had, but it's just, I'm just having a hard time picking the word to get it to my mouth. But it's like I know what I was trying to say. It's that seed of what I'm trying to say is always there. But for some reason I can't always pull it to my mouth. But it was trying to express that care for myself because it's a partnership. But it just felt like it's together, it's mutual. It's together with myself, and it's symbiotic. It felt like it wanted to give that love back to myself, even though this is self energy. Connie later on said, yes, our parts can also have self energy. So, so there's this mutual part of me from the part that wants to communicate, but has a hard time digging into myself to express, so it needs to talk with its hands, but I've kept this part of me under locks without even knowing it. And it's so weird. It is really hard to repeat myself. But there was that aspect where it wanted to give that love back and that soothing back to my core self as well. And reciprocal. And it's mutual. And together. Words. Words are limited. Feels deeper than those. But it's the best I can do to communicate. Oh, well, not shaking this too much, sorry. So there was the mutual part of it. The learning about that I've held myself back. And we were trying to talk later on about what the part of me that's uncertain needs, because it's still not sure what to make of itself. But this part of me wants to talk with my hands, wants to express itself, but just doesn't know how fully, or this is just helping me. I'm not entirely sure, but it felt that it wanted to give comfort to my mind also. And like these parts that I'm talking about now, it was a long time, a lot of stuff in between them, so that it wasn't all just bing, bing, bing like I'm talking now. So yeah, but it, based on what I was saying about my mind blocking off this part of me and not using it as a tool intentionally since being a toddler, before I even knew, it wanted to show and acknowledge appreciation for my mind, for the hard work that it's done, because it's even blocked off certain tools that I would be able to use to help me to express myself more fully. And it's put a lot of work in through my life to try to get me to where I am and to try to keep me safe and to try to, in multiple ways, but feeling like it doesn't do enough, feeling like it's never enough, feeling like it's too slow, like it takes me too long to get things done, and that it's never doing enough. But part of me that was, even though it was held off, wanted to tell my mind, because that part of me was trying to tell Connie, it's like, that part of me feels safe. It feels like it has what it needs. But what it feels is that my mind needed for it to tell me that it understands the hard work that I've put in to keep me going. And even with itself blocked off, and if there's lost time there, that's okay. But that part of me wanted to let my mind know that it appreciated all the hard work that it's put in, even if everything hasn't gone perfect. Even if I don't always think about everything, but it's tried the best as it could for my whole life, trying to keep me afloat and keep me going, and never thinking that it was enough. And I felt seen. This part of me that first, earlier we were talking about that and how it felt, and it felt seen. It felt I was using my face. And our faces are obviously important, so it was just saying it felt appreciated and seen earlier, and then with later on when it was giving this to my mind, telling my mind, and then my mind saying that it felt seen. It was interesting at one point, kind of was asking about what if you just be way earlier, hours earlier. But then I was explaining, but I was also telling her that I was communicating, but to me, I can simultaneously communicate about the being while being, even though it seems like, hey, you can only do one or the other, but for me, I'm able to. It's interesting. It's hard to explain. But the same thing of when I was telling Connie hours later about when I was acknowledging the work that my mind has put in and trying to give it what it needed. And I was crying. At this point, telling Connie, and she's like, well, what do you give yourself at that time? I'm like, no, I've been doing that in parallel. It's the same thing as hours earlier when I mentioned about how I can explain being while being. Here, like, I've been expressing it, but in parallel giving it to myself, which is why I was crying. So I was giving that to myself even while talking about it, because I can in that moment. That's how I was giving it to myself, and how I was, I think we're good. Still going. I think that maybe that's good. There was uncovering this aspect of myself, which it's hard to say, because again, I don't have any memories of it. It's hard. There's a part of me that says, did I just make all this up in my head? Or has it really always been there, like it thinks, or like the story came out? But that's okay. It's okay to have some confusion and still some uncertainties about the future. So that was one of the key takeaways. That part of me giving my core self was trying to soothe that part, but then later on, that part was trying to soothe my core self, was another key takeaway. And acknowledging my mind, give myself all this time, and acknowledging the work that my mind has put in, even without this tool that I blocked off from myself. And so just seeing these parts of me, I think that was my three. She kind of just asked me for one, but I had three key things. I think that was the last of the three that I said at the time. Again, I have a hard time remembering if that was in fact the last thing, or if that's just what I'm getting now. If it was another one, well, now I got four. I can ask her tomorrow if that was the third one. But those are my biggest takeaways. I still don't know how this will help me. But uncertainty's okay. Uncertainty's part of life. I don't know if it's something I'll just use for myself within moderation, or if it's something I'll use more in my videos or when I'm talking with people. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of things, and there's things that I haven't even thought of yet. There's things I haven't even thought of yet that might come to my mind at some point, and just use things and express myself as I'm able. It's getting dark. I hope this isn't too... I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Boy. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. This is awfully long. I think I've captured the key points. I mean, this was... 4, 5 hours. This is 5 hours, 6 hours. This is like 6 hours worth of stuff that I'm trying to cover. Yeah, where's my... So, I think I've done a good job. I think I've expressed everything I'm trying to, and now I can finish eating. I wanted to get this recorded before it got dark out, even though, and I had some food. Yeah, that's my first. Those are the key points of. I'm repeating myself now because I don't know where to leave off. And I don't. There's part of me that's not sure if I've expressed myself well enough, but I have. I feel like there's more I want to say, but there's always a lot inside of me that wants to get out, but there's just a lot, but I can't always express it. But yeah, I'm done. I covered the main things, and now I want to get some food. I want to finish my supper. I had some, but I'm hungry, and it's also losing my light too. So I don't know if anyone's watching this. This is for myself. But I'm gonna share this. Who knows how many people will see this? My stuff doesn't get shown too much, but if you stumble across this and it helps you in some way, or inspires you, or anything, I hope whatever you found that touches you from this video, I just hope you got out of it whatever it is that was right for you. Yeah. So take care. See ya. Quick addition to what I was saying earlier. I was just details. I've eaten and done some other things, but just now I was thinking, trying to give time to myself to reflect on the day. And the thought came to my head that the part of me that I was talking about, that I connect to, that can use my hands a lot, that's to help me to access what's inside of me. And sorry if it comes across, it's not that I can't talk more quickly, it's just trying to access that part is slow sometimes. But it occurred to me, and like right there, I thought the word occurred very quickly. It just took me a while to get it to my mouth. So it's like, it's not that I don't necessarily, it's okay. All this, the stories, history, the part about blocking that off, all of this stuff that I was expressing with the help of my hands, and I was thinking about how, there's still that part of me that says, is the story as I conveyed it actually 100% true? And this is something that I blocked off from a very young age, or just the fact that, hey, did I just come up with this on my own, and did I just create this into being? But it still feels true. But that's beside the point. All of that stuff, and I said I was translating into words what my hands were trying to say, but it just, but I knew it wasn't just my hands trying to say it. It just took me a while to form the words. It's like my hands are just helping me to process what's inside of me. So it's a combination of using my hands to help me connect inside. Because obviously my hands couldn't tell me all of this stuff. I'm just using my gestures to try to help me. And as I was doing it, I was even trying to figure out what that part of me is. There's a gesture I was using on my right arm, which is holding the phone, so I can't show you. So I keep tapping that part of me to do that as best as I can while that hand is, I can't, it's okay. But that part of me obviously couldn't give me all of this information. This knowledge that it blocked something off. My hands couldn't do that themselves. So it's not that it's just that part of me that's giving me all these things. It's that I'm using that part of me that wants to use my hands a lot to help me to access inside. And I had a really good way of, when I thought about it, just a few minutes ago, I had a really, the words were clear in my head. The words were clear, of a very clear sentence of how I could express what I was trying to say. But now I'm trying to access those words, and I'm getting stuck in the details of how to say it. And I know another time the words just might come to me, and I might be very eloquent about it. But using my hands is just one tool to help me access inside of myself. So it's a combination of that and just sensing, that's part of the translating. Because while I'm translating what my hands are trying to tell me, the hand signals themselves aren't telling me all the details. It's impossible, they can't. But it's like, it's just trying to help me to process and help me to, it needs time. It needs time to get at that and to get it out. And I know I'm repeating myself. I just want to say it in a way that makes sense to me in words for the video. It's a combination of just help me to process, help me to give a story too, but to pluck things from within myself. Even if I'm not fully aware of what's in there and in here, but it's still there, and it's just that combination together. And I just thought it was important I thought it was an important thing when I was realizing that in word form to record this. That it's not just about my hands, it's about me connecting with myself, but my hands help me to piece those together to eventually find the words. Even if sometimes I can speak eloquently, things can come, and sometimes not. And even if when I had the thought, it was just like, oh, this is a nice, clear way of saying it. It would take 2 sentences in just a moment. But then it took me this long to record to try to get that out. It can be frustrating. Yeah, that's all I wanted to add right now. I wanted to get that it's not about the hand gestures. Those are helping me. And then whatever part of my subconscious was telling me, hey, I suppressed this, I've done this, that was coming from within me, and my hands were just trying to help me to get to those parts within me. And it's just, as I'm trying to translate what my hands were trying to help me with, those were the impressions that were coming to me from within myself, not from my hands. So it's really hard to pinpoint where that information, where that impressions were coming from. It was just trying to figure out what my hands are trying to help me to say. And then feeling within me what felt right, what felt accurate, true in the moment, as best I could. It's a lot of layers. Yeah, I don't know a better way to explain it. It'd be nice if I could recall the exact quick. It's okay. It's okay. So, yeah, I'm just going to give myself more time now. Time for bed anyway, but I'll give myself some time to just be with myself. And just, if things come up, time to have things come up, because I pulled myself away from this to do the video, which is important, but then do other things, so I haven't given myself as much time as what maybe I could have tonight. But that's okay. Okay, good, I'm still recording. Okay, I think that's good. I think that's good. It's confusing. It's confusing. Yeah, I'm done. I'm done for tonight. I give myself some time. See ya. One quick thought also. I just watched the whole video that I recorded about the hands and accessing within myself. And I'm working in conjunction. And there's a part of me, like I said, that is just like, hey, how much of this did I make some of it? But additionally, there's a part of me that questions I had the words. It's right there. I can practically see them in my head. I have the feel for it. I have that seed of what I wanted to say. But I don't know why, for some reason, I just can't pluck the words to get them out. But then I can go talk about how I can't pluck the words. I obviously have access to plenty of words, and these are words. There's a part of me looking at this and also feeling like, am I faking this? And not intentionally. I'm trying to do what's coming up. But there's a part of my intellect that says, because I'm taking my time and stumbling some, and it questions, hey, am I subconsciously faking this? So, yeah, that's all. I just wanted to add that on, because I want to be able to remember this later. You know, I gotta, just because my mind knows that minds are complicated, and I know that there's like so many things our minds can do, and that you don't know. It's like, well, what adds to things and what comes and makes a part of our stories, and what we're coming up with for ourselves, and all sorts of things, So it's like my mind sees that there's subconscious things that can happen, and either this story is true and I did block off something from myself for expressing and using my hands as much as what could have helped me because it was worried about being accepted. Either that, or I just made up on the fly today. But either way that is, shows a very complicated mind. It's, if it's true, well, that's just an insanely complicated thing our minds do, because it would have done that when I was just a baby or a toddler. If what I'm translating for what I felt during the journey and what I felt my hands are trying to help me to find within myself. If my translation and between my hands and just accessing what's inside of me and what it was trying to say, if that's all accurate, if my translation was correct, if I'm understanding what was inside of me correctly, that's just that's just insanely complicated for what our minds can do at such a young age. But even if it's made up, and I made it up on the fly now, that's still an insanely complicated thing that our minds can do, no matter which way you put it. And so there's a part of me that still knows that, hey, am I subconsciously faking this? Because it knows that itself, my mind knows that itself is complicated and that it can fool itself based on those two stories. No matter which way it's going, it comes out to the same thing. No matter which way, either it was when I was younger or I was making it up now, but one way or the other, at some point my mind has fooled itself. And I don't know which one. So again, my mind recognizes that I'm repeating myself. I think I've communicated what I was trying to get on here so that I don't lose access to it for later. It wonders if I'm faking subconsciously and fooling itself again. That's what I was trying to, because I've it's okay. It's okay. My mind loves piecing together things too. And it's trying to be honest. It's trying to be accurate. It's trying to know it doesn't I don't want to be a faker. I don't want to be faking it. I don't want, so that's why it has concern going, am I being accurate? Am I faking something underneath? Because I deeply don't want to do that, even if it's by accident. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling inside. And my mind would like to know. And I'm worried and uncertain what I'll make of all of this, if anything. Or if I can make anything of it outside of myself, or if it's just for me, or if it's something I take out as well. Like I said, I have many ways of expressing myself, many ideas that come and go. So I don't have to use this part of me. But it's one of the options. I don't know if it would help anyone besides me, but I also know that there's no way I'm unique. I mean, I'm unique, we're all unique, but you know what I mean. There's still similarities. So there might be other people who would find help in this for themselves and, like me, not realize it. Who knows? I don't know. Future will tell. But the one thing I want to know is that I'm not faking it. Yeah. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. Yeah. Just another 10 minutes. Almost. I'm good. I'm repeating myself at this point, so give myself some time. Which I said last time, but then now I'm doing this. Well, no, it's still connecting with myself and my thoughts, so I'm good. Ending now. Bye.